War. War never changes.
We always start with the world, and this time it features all new rendering, lighting, and landscape technology. It allows us to have 16 times the detail.
16 times the detail.
16 times the detail.
War. War never changes.
What's with the camera?
So I'm just going to rip the bandage off and just get started right in on this. So given the hot mess of games that have been released recently, Cyberpunk comes to mind. I thought it might be fun to do like a little dive into some classic games. So this is Fallout Tactics. It was released in 2001, so it's like, geez, it's almost 20 years old. Actually, it probably is 20 years old now. And it takes place in the Fallout universe, but whereas the original Fallout games were more RPG, develop your character, roam around the world, and find things to do, this is strictly a tactical, like, combat situation. There's several missions, and you are given a team, a squad that you slowly customize. They have skill points and perks, and you slowly just build up your team as you go through each one of these missions. And while it received a lot of criticism for being this very linear game, each mission allows for you to approach the objective from very different points. You can stealth in some situations around minefields. You can, or just go out for an all-out assault. So it's really, there's a lot of flexibility here, and I think a lot of old-time Fallout fans were just more turned off by the change in gameplay style. So, and otherwise, it's a fantastic game. It had very few bugs for that time. Back in the day, it used to be very difficult to get some games to run with certain computer configurations and settings, and it still is a little tricky getting this game to run, but that is only because it's 20 years old. And so there's a few configuration settings that you need to change around. I had to change the resolution to like 800 by 600, but finally got it working, and it seems just fine. It seems I'm just going to dive right into one of these levels, these tutorials and various things, and I guess I'll see if I find any bugs. So just to go over a few things here, I tried to make some notes just to keep me kind of on the straight and narrow instead of diving off into the weeds. Let's see. Combat focused. Fallout universe, not buggy as hell, like some of Bethesda's games. Yeah, I think. Fallout 76, never change. Just keep milking the player base. On Cyberpunk, man, just thinking about that. I'm not going to dive in. That's a whole hornet's nest right there. Let's see. The game just definitely deserves a remaster, and I don't. They don't need to add like new politics or wokeness or anything. Just make this run on newer systems without having to reconfigure all these options. So actually, in this version that I got on Steam, which only for $3, so it's like, hell, why not? It actually includes some sort of custom campaign and custom mission, which I never ran into before, so that might add a whole new level of replayability. I'm not going to dive into that now because I have no idea what that entails. So just to show you a little bit of what the combat's like before I dive into a new game, I'm going to try one of the tutorials. The basic one, from what I recall, was just like, this is how you move, this is how you dodge. The stealth, actually, yeah, so the interesting thing about the stealth is that this game had a whole stealth mechanic, and I was so excited for Wasteland when that came out, but they just tore stealth like right out of it, or at least the stuff. I was hoping Wasteland was going to be more like this game, but no, it was like a pale imposter, and it just completely underwhelming.
In this tutorial, we demonstrate how to set up an ambush and draw out the enemy using a decoy. This strategy is particularly effective against less intelligent enemies, such as the dog you will encounter here. As with most encounters, this mission can be completed in a number of different ways. Click on Start Mission to view a recorded movie showing how to execute this combat maneuver.
So that's another thing that I like. Okay, so they actually have an interesting display hub. It's like there's a lot of character going on here. There's a little too much in some cases, but and then it's like a tutorial. There's some games out there I don't think, like Apex Legends, I don't think had a really in-depth tutorial. So I mean, maybe that changed. I don't know. So I'm just. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and it actually includes a...
Start by selecting Strom and moving him into a position where he can carry out the ambush. He is armed with a submachine gun, which is an ideal short-range weapon for dispatching opponents. To get increased benefit, we will put him into a crouched stance and select the aggressive sentry mode. Next, select Doc and run him to a point which is far enough away from the dog so that he can avoid damage, but close enough to attract its attention. Now run away, Doc. Notice how effective the SMG is at close range. Now that you've seen an example of how a professional soldier would approach the problem, let's see how well you do. Click on Done to continue.
So this implies that this whole tutorial is kind of on rails, but actually you can actually go about the tutorials in some pretty humorous, fun ways that won't instantly mean failure, or it allows you to actually test out the game and kind of learn before you actually dive right into it. So just shift and run. That causes the guy to run. But you can also control a lot of the movements down here. You can switch between different guns. Each gun actually has different modes with it. So, and you'll notice AP, those are action points. So this game can actually be run as a turn-based game, but the best way to play this is actually just live action, where you don't have to worry about like turns and various things. In that case, you have to run it completely off of action points. So, and then let's see, yeah, you can. So you can even target body parts. So there's and now these are all skill based. Let's see if I can actually bring up the skills here. Yeah, so this guy has a lot of sneak, lockpick, steel traps. Actually, there's even a more in-depth list that goes into gun skills, small guns, big guns, energy weapons, all sorts of things. Character. Oh yeah, here. So this includes like all the great stuff from Fallout, and even to some degree Fallout 3. In my mind, though, this stuff all can be just in the background. You could still have a fun as it's just run and gun without doing any tactics. Of course, you're going to pay for it because the name of the game is Tactics. So putting it into crouch makes it more of a steady aim and includes the odds of shooting. Let's see. You can actually go into single for there. Let's see. So 75 head. Let's see if it changes. Nope, because I can't do that here. But yeah. So and then these are will it just be a sentry mode? What is the sentry defensive? I think that's only if he's attacked will he attack. And then I always just tend to set it to aggressive. Although that's the cool thing about this is that there's times when you don't want your characters to be aggressive because they can trip alarms. So, for example, if you're sneaking by, let's see if I can get this guy to actually sneak. And there's this prone mode, which makes them harder to spot. And let me see. this guy's on aggressive, just in case I trigger the dog. Oh, yep, trigger the dog. Oh, in that case, it didn't work out.
Well done. But remember that in the field, your opponents will often be more resourceful and better armed.
So, well, anyway, he was probably a horrible sneak anyway, but the point is that you could approach that where you could sneak around and instead have that guy attack the dog with a knife, or there's all sorts of things you can do, but it's all skill-based. So, actually, I don't think I'm going to have enough time in this video to get into a new game, but I should be able to go through the character creation slot. So, not slot, but system. Create. So it's been a long time since I've done that. So there's a number of Snake Plissken. So yeah, there's a number of pre-made characters. Now, generally, I guess for a roleplay kind of side of things, I guess you could go with one of these characters. That's not the fun. To me, the fun is like modifying. So there's all these different portraits. So obviously, but then the beautiful thing are the skills. So and then the traits are almost like perks in a way, but maybe less gimmicky. So different things, like a small frame, for example, it doesn't carry as much, but it affects agility. So if I click here, and you can see how it has a subtle impact on agility, and thus also the skills impacted by agility. Now, one reason why people, so you can min-max different builds here, and so what some people do is they'll really go through this with a fine-tooth comb, and it's like, okay, I want small frame, but then I'll take that extra. So let's see. So it gives you 1 extra point into agility. Well, they'll take that point and instead move it to intelligence, which, yeah, is definitely something that can be done. Oh, what's that? Height person. Oh, yeah, so all these have different abilities, and generally there's pros and cons to taking each one of these. For example, small frame, let's see, I don't think you can hold as much. Yeah, you can't carry as much, but you are more agile. So the big ones tend to be skilled and gifted, because so in the case of gifted, you each get let's see, +1 to stats. So that should be. Oh right, I gotta take this one off. Yeah, so that gives you a lot of points to play around with to make your character like an Ubermensch. But the problem is that you lose 10% on all skills to start and receive 5 less skill points per level. That could be a really big problem. So generally, what you do is when you take gifted, you might want to put more into intelligence, because with intelligence, you get more skill points. So there's definitely trade-offs. And the cool thing with this game, too, is while there's a lot of benefits to using guns, running an unarmed or a melee weapon definitely is doable, although sometimes there's more pain involved, I believe, with melee weapons. Or melee. I don't know. So generally, though, so the interesting thing with this game, again, because it's not like Fallout, the first and second Fallout, is that you can't use charisma to beat the game. You just can't like walk up to each and every enemy and convince them that, hey, I'm your buddy, guy. Won't you be a pal and let me pass? It's like that. There is no things like that. You can't just skip to the very end of the game by being a super charismatic guy. But so you'd figure, okay, what use is charisma? Well, charisma impacts what recruits you get in the pool. So, and that can be a very big deal, especially because I believe unless you save scum, permadeath is a real thing for your characters. Except when when your main character dies, you lose the game. But if you've been building up for multiple missions, a character, and then that character dies, you're going to need some good recruits to replace them in a pinch. So charisma really helps with that. I think it also helps with bartering prices, which this game severely triggers my OCD in terms of collecting, like searching every bit of the map for like hidden treasure. There's not really hidden treasure per se, but there will definitely be like boxes here and there, or sacks, or different things that you can check for things to sell. And you definitely, if you want to have some good armor and some good weapons and enough ammo throughout the game, yeah, you definitely need to be wise with how you do your searching and how you do running through things. So yeah, the cool thing here is that all these skills, they don't go to waste. It's they all can be used to some degree, some better than others. But at the end of the day, you definitely want a character that has some sort of weapon or attack proficiency. Now, you can supplement that with definitely a good thing is to have your character be either one of these weapons, but then a doctor, or to be a sneak. So if you're going to do sneak, sometimes it makes sense to be a sniper. And but you can also do sneak and unarmed, and then sneak up on the guys and cripple them. So there's some very cool weapons in the game. Which one is it? It's like this buzz chainsaw knife. Very cool. Now you might notice in other games they don't have, out of all these skills, they don't have a pilot. There's actually vehicles in this game. Now you do use some of the vehicles in the missions, but it's not like you're just rampaging through, just driving quickly through the missions. In the actual missions, the vehicles act more as mobile bunkers, while outside on the world map, there's a world map, the vehicles act as a faster transport, and you want to do that because there are random encounters. Now, the bad thing about random encounters in the open world is that generally the kind of loot that you get off those random encounters, they don't pay for all the bullets, all the things that you generally use in that random encounter. So they're kind of like money sinks. So it's better just to travel quickly between each and every mission, especially later on when you are there's super mutants in this game, but there's also a bigger menace, and I don't necessarily want to spoil that, but the super mutants you may get some good weapons off of, but the later on, the bigger menace, you don't get much, if anything, out of them. And so to take them down, it takes a lot of resources, and you're just not compensated for that. So definitely good to have someone be a pilot. Outdoorsman, actually that I believe impacts the special encounters that you'll run into. So there's special encounters in this game, a lot of Easter eggs and gimmicks, various things like that. So it's Outdoorsman is if you played, I think it's if you played the game through once, like seriously, and then if you want to encounter some of the stranger aspects in the Fallout world, then you go with Outdoorsman. Of course, through some of those special encounters, very few, but just some of them, you'll get some either powerful weapons, or you'll get something that enhances the game. So it's if you get a lot of skill points coming in through having great intelligence, then yeah, you might want to dump some skill points into outdoorsmanship. Gambling, I think there's one level, there's one thing, or maybe there's one bunker where you do some gambling. This is like a throwaway skill. I wouldn't. And besides, I think you can get a recruit later on that is better at gambling. And I think there's ways to cheese the game with gambling and barter that allow you to get a lot of money this way. If you're not a fan of cheese, if you're not a fan of like exploits, then I would just skip gambling. Let's see. Repair and science. So repair is useful for your vehicle. Generally, you don't tend to use it too much, I believe, on the maps. Yeah, I don't recall any of that, but of course it's been so long, so I might go through some of these missions later on and see where. But science is actually important because you'll use the skill to trigger computer consoles, which can activate traps or sentry guns to fire at enemies, and so science can be a good way to just have more mission flexibility. Same thing with trap. Actually, I find traps to be most useful at disarming traps, not necessarily laying traps. And the purposes of that is it's a great moneymaker. So you have traps on maybe one more disposable character, or if you feel like save's coming, there's one level, I think it's the third level in this game, that really kind of triggered me to have, I had to collect every landmine. And it's a great way to get early in-game money to like really outfit your squad, because without that money infusion, your characters are just kind of limping along the whole way. So, let's see. Everything else is pretty much self-explanatory. There's throwing, which is grenades. Grenades are awesome in this game, just because you can have like something like bloody mess, and there are definitely while it's more pulled back, blood and gore, it's pretty phenomenal. At least at the time that this game came out, everything that it did was pretty amazing. So actually, I'm gonna cancel this. Do one last tutorial and call this like the first episode, and then maybe I'll get into the first mission and I'll just try to run through, because this takes some time to actually set up a decent character, and if I'm going to be playing through all the levels, I don't necessarily want a pre-made character that can just kind of limp along. So let's see, just a ambush. I already did ambush. Stealth. Yeah, I think it was under stealth that had the grenades.
In this tutorial, you will learn about the benefits of the sneak skill and melee weapons. We will move the character with the highest sneak skill up to a point behind one of the raiders. Meanwhile, we will move the character with the SMG into a position suitable for taking out the raider's partner. Click on Start Mission to view a recorded movie showing how to execute this combat maneuver. Start by setting Ghost to sneak mode, aggressive mode, and crouched. Walk him into the hut, hugging the back wall to maximize your chance of sneaking, and come up behind the leftmost raider. Meanwhile, set Strom to sneak mode. Crouch and walk him into the tent, trying to stay behind the low barriers.
Silently. Very silently.
Reselect Ghost and attack the raider with the knife. Meanwhile, reselect Strom and attack the other raider with the SMG. Now that you've seen an example of how a professional soldier would approach the problem, let's see how well you do. Click on Done to continue.
I'm not a professional soldier. I don't know how any of this shit works. What's this? Backpack. Huh. Yeah. I don't think backpacks actually ever did anything. Oh, out of here. Ah, damn. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay, so it wasn't this one. Maybe it was the sniper. So, well, this is still a good one, so it just kind of illustrates the point. And I believe there's hotkeys for these. Yeah, can I just... what? Yeah, cool. See, now in this case, yeah, well... yeah, I can't remember if aggressive... well, we'll see. And in this case, you definitely don't want to run. see, you can do these things multiple times. This is so much better than turn-based, because the turn-based option is just, it just goes so much slower. So, and this was, at least to me, it was revolutionary in that you did not have to wait for each and every turn. So this is all in action. If something goes wrong, it forces you to act pretty quickly. Now see, if I do this, good, he can't reach over the wall, because in some cases the walls are short enough that they'll actually start, like if there's sandbags, they'll actually start firing over. So that guy's ready to go. So this guy, you could say right click, and so he should go in for the attack, and then like this guy, boom.
Congratulations, recruit. You're starting to understand some of the subtleties of close combat.
Yeah. I are soldier now. Yeah, so that's just a quick intro on Fallout Tactics. So if you want the game, it's on Steam. I got it on sale for $3, but I mean, even under, like, I mean, at this point in life, in the world, and everything like that, to get a nice, solid, good, like, tactics-based game, I think it's $20. It's worth $20 at this point. Yeah, there may be some graphical issues, there may be other issues, but $3 is a no-brainer for me. And then I won't spoil anything in here besides what you've already seen, but that's not spoiling any of the mission. So just a great game, definitely. If you're interested in this kind of format, this kind of tactics-based gameplay, and you love the Fallout world, which I do, this started my love. It wasn't Fallout 1, it wasn't Fallout 2, not even, Fallout 3 came after this, but this truly started my love of the Fallout universe, so, and just apocalyptic universes in general. So definitely recommend this game. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Do it! Do it! Come on! Here! Come on! Do it now!